Shahine Elizabeth Fakuri Robinson was born on July 4, 1953, to parents Peter and Kathleen Fakuri. She grew up in the community of Claremont St. Anne.
Our family from Claremont is pretty, I don't know, I always thought it was big, but it's not. As a child, I thought it was big because there were her and my other two aunts and my father and my uncle. So there were 5 of them, but there had originally been 6 of them, but their sister Nahil, she had passed away she was like 10 years old. So that was before my generation was even thought to be in existence. But I thought with 5 in that generation plus my grandmother, I always thought, wow, it's so big, because then I had all the cousins and the sisters and the brothers and everything, and it just seemed like a big family,
Mrs. Robinson graduated from the Immaculate Conception High School and went on to Miami-Dade College in the United States, where she earned an associate degree in marketing and a diploma in public relations. Her upbringing and education would eventually translate into a life of public service. Shahine Robinson came to national prominence in 2001 after she won the by-election for the Northeast St. Anne constituency. For the next 19 years, she would continue to represent the people and the Jamaica Labour Party as the constituency's Member of Parliament.
She was a mother as well as an aunt. She takes care of everybody, not just her nieces and nephews, who were Peter, Paolo, Bianca, Brianna, and myself. Her constituency, like when you go into her constituency, a lot of the people, like, the rough and tough guys, most of them, Mama, wagwan, so it's like everybody saw her in that way.
Having secured her place in the nation's legislature, Mrs. Robinson would also offer her services in the executive arm of government. In 2007, she was appointed Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for local government. 4 years later, in 2011, she was promoted to Minister without Portfolio with responsibility for local government in the Ministry of Housing, Environment, Water and Local Government. Another promotion would follow in March 2016 when Mrs. Robinson was sworn in as Minister of Labour and Social Security after the JLP's victory in the general election held a month earlier. She was only the second female minister to hold the combined portfolios of Labour and Social Security, following the Most Honourable Portia Simpson Miller, who served from 1989 to 1993. Prior to that, the Honourable Mavis Gilmore was Minister of Social Security and Consumer Affairs for 1 year, between 1988 and 1989. During her tenure as Minister of Labour and Social Security, Mrs. Robinson oversaw the continued improvement of facilities and the modernization of systems for the ministry. These were designed to ensure her ministry fulfilled its mandate to safeguard dignity in work, social protection, human capital development, and inclusive sustainable job creation. Minister Robinson was a firm believer in labour market reform and was a keen advocate for ensuring a safer work environment for all Jamaican employees under the new occupational health and safety legislation. The country recorded significant progress during her oversight of the portfolio. In a cohesive effort with other departments of government, her tenure witnessed thousands of jobs being created as the construction industry and business process outsourcing sector grew. She also continued to seek employment opportunities for Jamaicans overseas and championed their rights in the process. On Friday, May 29, 2020, word came that the sitting Minister of Labour and Social Security public servant, the Honourable Shahine Robinson, had died. She was 66 years old.
We're going to remember her by her kindness to people and her capacity to love. So we try our best to live our lives that way anyway, but nobody can fill her shoes. There's no replacement for her. But I mean, that's the best way we can honor her legacy, is by being kind to people as well and exhibiting the same love that she did. She fiercely loved her family. She made all of us feel very special. She also disagreed with us passionately when she was ready, but she never made us forget that she loved us. So, like, even if we had any sort of a fight or anything like that, she's like the first one coming to friend you back up. And she knew, she was so like in tune to everybody and their different personalities that like she knew what it took to friend up each person individually. So like she knew what to do. Like, so it was just like you couldn't stay mad at her. And you know, you just felt like everybody wanted her attention all the time, and everybody gave her attention all the time, you know, because she was just one of those people who, I don't know, I've never met anybody else like her.
Friends, colleagues, and associates have since hailed her as one who made a marked impact, personally and professionally. Her steadfast commitment to serving the people earned her glowing accolades, such as the rarest of politicians and champion of the poor and vulnerable.
I had the opportunity to address the ILO, and she accompanied me, and she was well regarded amongst labor ministers internationally and by the ILO directly. Mr. Speaker, she worked very closely with the trade union movement, and her approach, her conciliatory style, her soft words, her understanding posture would have contributed, Mr. Speaker, to maintaining the industrial harmony and peace which Jamaica has enjoyed for more than a decade. Her unassuming and humble demeanor and her endearing smile belied the tallow of Nanny and the deep love and genuine motherly care of Mother Teresa. She lived her sage words and would often say, if you don't go into politics to serve, it doesn't make any sense. You have to want to serve the people to make a difference in the lives of the people. Shahine truly inspired me with her belief that if you go through life and you are not helping people, then life is not worth living. She would also say it's a sin to say no when you can say yes. And I've witnessed that firsthand, Mr. Speaker. I've witnessed it in not just the care and love for her constituents, but the care and love for her family.
Despite the interests which diverge and which separate us, we can pursue these interests in keeping with the highest traditions of respect for each other and for the country and the parliament which we serve. Her example is worthy of emulation across the generations.
Because of her commitment to the process of governance and the taking of her responsibility seriously, she came here in a state of ill health and presented her budget presentation in this house.
A person who always tried to help the poor, who extended herself in so many ways. She was always available to young persons. She was always willing to help the party when called upon and even when not called upon. She was legendary and well known for her work in by-elections. She was one of the first to turn up and one of the last to leave. She mentored others. She extended her love to everybody, and persons from both sides of the fence have good things to say about Shahine Elizabeth.
Shahine reminds me of that verse in the book of Micah, chapter 6, verse 8. It says, "He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God." That was Shahine Robinson.
Mrs. Robinson is survived by her siblings Rosemary Pillina, June Prendergast, and Paul Fakuri, as well as her nieces and nephews, Gianna, Melinda, Bianca, Brianna, Melody, Alicia, Shahine, Peter, Paul, and Paulo.